So, welcome to Business Builders, episode 9. Fantastic. So, we were talking on the last show about follow-up, and I suppose that naturally leads to how do those leads transpire? How do we get those leads in the first place? And that takes us into the topic of web conversion. I love web conversion. It's the other side of the coin. You generate the marketing, you get the people on the website, you get them over the line, and then you follow up. So we spoke about follow-up. We've touched a little bit on marketing, but then we're talking today about web conversion. So I think it's another great topic. Really interested to see your insights in this. So over to you.
Yeah, conversion rate optimization, or CRO if you're in America.
Or John.
Yeah, with some acronyms. So I think it's a great topic because it's something that we both do. We both create websites. We both ultimately want to try and make sure that websites convert. So, what is the purpose of it? So obviously for people that don't know conversion rate optimization, it's about trying to have a conversion point. So a conversion point could be somebody filling out a form on a website, like a contact us form, but it could even be a micro conversion like watch a video on your website, or even fill out their email address to sign up for your newsletter. So that is what, so what you want to do is you want to find out what is the purpose of your website in the first place, and what are the conversion points. What does a conversion point look like to you? Ultimately, because we work in generating leads, ultimately what we have is a lot of people wanting leads, filling out contact forms, a number of contact forms.
Yep.
So we are looking to basically figure out if there's different conversion points, so you don't have to just have a contact us, because very rarely does people actually have a contact us. So we're looking for new and quirky and different ways, and I think it's these new, quirky, interactive, different ways that actually improve the conversions. So what about you? Have you seen any of these kind of new, different ways, or have you even created one?
Oh, there you go. So yeah, I've actually seen a few builders over the last couple of months. One of the things I've seen recently that's very, very clever is using video as a conversion tactic. So there's a tool called Video Ask, and it allows you to have a video sort of pitch. So imagine a little bit of pitch on a page.
Is that by Typeform?
I'm not sure actually if it's them that own it, but I'll explain the platform, and if it is them, then it potentially is. So what happens is you go to the page. So let's say you've landed on my e-learning page. So someone like me will make the case, and they'll say, "Hi, welcome to the website. E-learning might be a focus, blah, 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 features, benefits. If you're interested in e-learning, what area is it you're interested in?" And then below would come up with multiple choice questions that might say course planning, course creation, course delivery, all of the above or other. You would click on something and say, "Fantastic, you're interested in course planning. The way we approach course planning is blah, 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 blah." And it's like, why don't you record me a video message back, tell me more about your project, just by clicking on the text, the audio, or the video button below. It happens automatically. I get the video and I can come back to you. So you can hit the button and say, "Hi, my name is John. I'm building a course on such and such. I heard about you on LinkedIn. It would be great to see if you could help us. We're looking for about maybe 7 modules of our course. Right now we're not really sure of the platform. Just looking for a price, thank you." And then it lets you preview it. So you listen to it back and say, "No, I don't like the way my hair looked there." Right. And then you go again, right? But what it does is it automatically sends you the video, you get it, and then I can respond to a video as well, that then emails you the video and says, "John Lowton has replied to your video message." So it takes that idea of like FaceTime and Zoom and this kind of digital sort of video space, and it uses it as a conversion tactic. I think that's genius personally. I think that's a brilliant way of getting conversion, and you hit directly on the kind of nose with that, in the sense of a contact form is a pretty old hat way of getting contact details. Even the very thought of a contact us page is quite antiquated. It's not really changed in all that time. Whereas you could lace these videos all the way through your site, and it becomes really dynamic. So that's one of the best ways I've seen it done recently, and I think it's an absolute belter. It's a very interesting thing, and if you do video on your social media, you should be all over it.
It is, it's by Typeform, so we were looking at this for, actually, because Typeform also do surveys as well as forms on the website, and we were going to do that, so ask questions for the survey, and then if they answer it then goes that. It's so good, it's so interactive,
it's engaging.
It's engaging. It brings out, video is so important. We talked about that previously, but it brings across that personality of the person, but also gets them to fill out a form in a different and interactive way. Because contact forms are boring. They're so boring. They're trying their best to try and make them even easier by, having the Google kind of Chrome plugin where it just autofills, because people don't want to fill out the details. But actually, if they do something like that, they go, that's not too bad that we do that. Don't know if I would do it in a train right enough.
do you know the thing I think about it though as well is millennials and down are really adverse to phone calls, and they don't like that communication method. So years ago, I kind of done a consensus at a workshop I ran, right? And I asked the audience, I just said to them, so who has a contact form on their website? Just a show of hands, and all the hands in the room went up with the people that had websites. Who uses Twitter and Facebook and has that on their website? Yep, some hands. And then I says, who sends SMS, text messages? Do you have a text message number on your website? Very little hands. What about WhatsApp? How many people have a WhatsApp number on their website? 0 hands, right? And then I was like, and then just as a kind of, for a sanity check, how many people in the room use WhatsApp? Every hand. And it says, could you all stand up and look around you for a second? That's your audience. So your audience is already on WhatsApp, but yet you don't have it on your website as a communication method. Now you can have a link that goes straight into a WhatsApp message, bang. So why would you not be where your customers are? But people forget, because what they get in the habit of doing is copying what other people do. So they're not looking at, WhatsApp's there, everybody's doing video content now, everybody's doing automatic Calendarly or booking appointments or demos, and you see all these tactics. The way I would normally do it is I would go and look at the expensive websites. So go and look at things like John Lewis, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, all the people that Unilever, the people that have serious money. Another good one to look at is your coaches. So your guys like what's that big giant guy with the massive hands? Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins, yeah.
Right. So you look at him, kind of like, oh. So anyway, Tony Robbins, if you look at them, they've all invested fortunes in conversion tactics. And all you need to do is go through there like inspiration and say, there's one, I'll take that one, and I'll apply it to my business as an experiment. And it's important to think of that. Like, it is just a wee test.
Do they not do things like ClickFunnels and things like that?
Exactly that. Now, I think there's over 194 conversion tactics that are deployed on Tony Robbins' website. So it's an actual treasure trove of conversion. But so many people don't have any of that. Like most of the clients I talk to, they're not even doing the basics. So the basics are literally kind of like making sure you're leveraging what your services and your case studies are, but they're not even doing that. Just for the listeners, because we know what ClickFunnels are. So what can you explain what ClickFunnels is? I know that's for us it's a product, but there's obviously a process. So the idea behind a ClickFunnel is an automated sequence. So think about like a sales process. So we speak about a sales process, there might be say 18 touches. They reckon that anywhere between 7 touches and 12 touches is where most conversion happens. So if you have an email sequence or a chatbot or anything that's automated, it's following a sequence. So the idea where this came from, I can't remember the guy's name actually, but talking about more, it's like Matt something or whatever. But anyway, ClickFunnel. And there is other ones as well. There's ConvertKit and various others, just to kind of throw them out there as well. But effectively what will happen is the person signs up for the email. So normally it'd be like a lead magnet, and what we mean by that is there'll be a brochure or a mini course or something of value that the person will get access to, get a free copy of my webinar that I gave at TEDx or whatever, and they sign up with an email. So you sign up, the person says, hi, welcome to Market Mavens Hybrid Anchor XYZ. Over the coming weeks we'll explain whatever it is, and they'll take you through a sequence. So they'll give you value, they'll educate you about the product, and then what they'll kind of try and do is triage you and take you down into this kind of sales funnel. So it connects the marketing funnel onto the sales funnel, and then they'll obviously try to get the sales to yield at certain stages. Now what's quite clever about ConvertKit and tools like it is they'll actually add what you call markers. So I always explain this to clients like the labyrinth. So imagine that you run through the maze of the labyrinth, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go left, so you fight the Sphinx. I go right, so I fight the Phoenix. Somebody goes down the middle, they fight the Minotaur. And then we get to the end. So all three of us survive, just for talking sake. And I look at you, and I glance down at your arm, and I see he has a yellow mark, he has a white clay mark, and that guy has a black clay mark. So at a glance, I can tell what route you came through the maze. And if you look at that in the sense of like a funnel, you can ask a question like, are you interested in automated marketing? Are you interested in paid for advertising? Are you interested in PR? So the person can click, I'm interested in PR. You take them through to an article that tells them about how the latest and greatest of PR works and what people have done with it. They think it's fantastic. But what you've actually done there is on the link you put a little marker. So it's like that person's interested in PR. So now when you do your PR-based marketing, your resourcing, you can actually send that out against them. So it's almost like you're building up intelligence about people within the funnel. And that's, I think, the thing that people forget about ClickFunnels in general is they're not thinking about it's not just the sequence. It's also that kind of learning and educating yourself about who are your users, who are your prospective clients, and how do you get them into that kind of warm area where you can then promote and sell to them effectively.
Yeah, I think another thing that is important with website conversion that we do quite a lot is we actually have to diagnose different websites. So if somebody comes on, I'm not getting any leads, I've had a marketing agency or we've got somebody in the marketing department. I think people don't really know ways to diagnose and actually audit. I know that you do website audits and things like that as well. And there's various tools. So we've, in the past used like Hotjar, which is kind of like eye tracking software. Well. It's like eye tracking software records what people do on the site. I also found a new one called Mouseflow. It's literally exact same as Hotjar, but it actually tracks what users do. Now I had an example of a client, e-commerce client, and so she was basically saying, we're not getting sales. I've added a new sales part at the bottom of the site, and I've not had anybody pick it up. So I was like, right, cool. We'll get the heat tracking software on, and we'll see what's happening. What we found is everybody was above the line. So what I mean by above the line, when you see the desktop, it's the top level. The
bit's loaded within the viewport.
They never scrolled to the bottom. It was like 1% of the people scrolled to the bottom. So they never ever saw it. So we as the marketers were like, well, nobody's actually going to go there. So what we're either going to have to do is make the decision, do we push it to the top? Or do we try and get them to navigate elsewhere and actually follow what they're actually doing? And that's what we essentially done. We went to the second page and then started using it in like little smaller bits. But there's lots of ways to do it. Google Optimize as well, where you can actually like A/B test websites. So if you're designing a new website, you can actually diagnose and audit and see, for that audience, that one works, and then that one works with other ones. So what about you? I mean, any tools that you've used?
So when I do things like audits and stuff like that, I generally pull it from experience rather than tools. But there is a few tools that definitely I recommend. So I think that people forget that it's not just what's on the website, but the performance of the website that drives conversion. So I would always recommend running it through something like webpagespeedtest.org, which is going to tell you this is the guy needs some water. It's okay. So when you're kind of going through the kind of speed of the website, the performance, you want to kind of make sure that it's caching. So it's actually like loading the website back in a reasonably fast time. The faster it goes, the more you're going to convert. So that's a great tool for finding that out. And it's also going to telegraph where you're losing your speed. The second one I would say is a similar one. It's Google Page Insight. So it's Google's own sort of performance. It's not as detailed, perhaps, as some of the other ones, like things like GT metrics. But what it will tell you is the score. Now, why I think that's relevant for clients is if it gives you a 15 out of 100 on mobile, and mobile has been set as a priority for Google, you kind of know that Google are going to mark your website down. So, of course, Google rank the websites. They have to do that. And it would stand to reason that they would use their own tools to do that. So if you think about it, if I'm going to scan your website and say, is this site optimized, would I not use my own optimization tool? So putting two and two together, it's probably quite good to get a good score on that. So that's another great tool for it. ClickFunnels, I'm a big fan of. I do like that method. I also think that looking at like what your tripwires are, how can you get somebody over the line? So there's different ways of doing it. For things like blog content, I would often kind of recommend maybe it's something like a newsletter, potentially like a mini course is quite a valuable way of doing that, because it's like, look, if you're interested in this type of content, you want to learn more, then sign up and you can kind of get that. More kind of relevant ways or recent ways I've seen it done, I think things like Video Ask have definitely changed the way we can kind of engage. Live chat can be another good opportunity to convert traffic as well. Because if you come on to, like, say, a case study, and then I'm saying, hi, is there anything I can help you with today? And they say, I was just checking out this case study you done for client X. You say, it's a fantastic project. Is there something similar you've got in your mind and self? Something similar you've got in mind. And they say, actually, I'm in a similar kind of area to them. You say, that's fantastic. Would it be worth scheduling a call and we'll have a bit of a chat about it? But it's very low key, similar to someone in a shop walking over you and saying, hi, is there anything I can assist you with today? And you're saying, I'm just really into buying a suit. What's the occasion? Those kind of questions are sales questions, but live chat takes you closer to the customer to at least have a chance of having that chat.
What about chatbots? Have you used chatbots before?
I haven't used them, but I've seen that the method seems to follow things like automated sequences. Like it looks similar to ConvertKit and stuff like that. I've not used them personally, but I've heard like really good reviews about some people that have used them. What about yourself? Do you use them quite a lot?
Yeah, I've used live chat, chatbots, and pop-ups as well. I've used like small pop-ups. So chatbots, I think, are just as another way of kind of generating a lead. I think they came out and they were a wee bit kind of gimmicky and a bit of a fad. I think they need to be done properly, but I mean, we talked about this previously in an older episode about LinkedIn and automation. Everybody hates speaking to a bot.
Yeah.
They want to speak to a person. So if they know that that's a chat bot, it's just going to frustrate them. They want to speak to a person. If I've actually, if I want to, click that button, it's just, I want to speak to somebody, I want to do a live chat. So I think live chat works better. However, I've seen chatbots work quite well. It was a Facebook Messenger app. So somebody's done a Facebook ad, and I was like, that's quite good. It said, message me, and I thought, that's quite cool. So I messaged them. He then sent me, it was a bot that then sent me the white paper. And then after a couple of days, it then came back from him saying, if you read the white paper, what do you think?
What do you think of that?
And then there's obviously permutations from that because it's linked to the Facebook ad. So if I say no, I didn't like it, and then it will obviously be a sequence of emails or sequence of messages. And if I said yes, I like it, as a sequence of messages. One of the effective ways I did was a pop-up. So we used HubSpot's pop-up kind of form. It's free to use. We added the code onto the website. And what happens is, like, halfway down this site, the client would always want to try and get an instant quote. And we also understood that that's what the audience wanted. The audience wanted a quote, and they wanted a quote faster. They want to find, it was for bifold doors, so they want to find out how much bifold doors are going to be. Now, they basically scroll down the bottom of the site, then the instant quote would pop up, and then you would fill out their information. It was massively, like, it basically changed their website conversions from like 0 to like hundreds and hundreds. It was like really fast.
Things like that, quizzes and stuff can be quite good as well. It's a really effective way. It's asking people multiple choice questions, because it's like you want to answer questions. It's a human trait to want to answer a question. Whereas if you kind of have something that's like the onus is on you to do something. Another trick I've kind of used as a call to action more is changing things so that it doesn't say things like free obligation, no quotation quote, or contact us, or get in touch, and you're kind of thinking it doesn't really mean anything. I've actually started changing that to, is it worth 5 minutes of your time? And then I just literally say below it and say, look, not every client's going to work out for us, not every person's a great fit, but if you're interested in working with us, love to have a kind of 5 minute chat, work out if there's a good fit there, a synergy, and go for that. And that actually does get conversion.
We've recently just changed it, so you know obviously the term call to action, so it's like call to action, contact us, schedule a demo. We've actually switched that around to doing a call to value. So instead of saying schedule a demo, you would then say, see how you can reduce your cost by 50% in 30 minutes. So it's a call to value, and then that's like a little bit different from a request a demo, because everybody.
And it's eye catching as well.
It's eye catching.
So I remember like doing that way. It wasn't a website, but it was a networking thing, where we'd say, right, I was working with a client here, and we made these changes, and they're saying a 581% increase in conversion, and it's like, if you want to know how we did that, come and ask me how. And then people were like, kind of, well, obviously I want to know that. Like, so a few people kind of clustered around, and I told them the story. But it became like sort of a thing of going, well, it's a hook, and exactly what you're doing there. Like a call to value is a great way of doing that. Probably not nearly enough people do that. Also the things like headings are the same. So I always like promote value proposition headlines, and it's like speaking about the afters. So the amount of web agencies I see that are like, we are an award-winning web agency. I don't care.
No,
I literally don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if you've got 100,000,000 rewards, right? That's not how it works.
Yeah.
I want someone that's like, drive consistent leads to your CRM. You know what I mean? Affordably, something like that. And you go, right, cool, I get what this company does. But a lot of people are not thinking about it that way. So it's good for your elevator pitch, but it's also very good for your content. Because what's the point in writing, we're an award-winning, there's our brand name, and it's all been written for SEO, but it's not been written in a way that actually gets you the sale. And it's like, some of these people are paying a lot of money to bring traffic on the website, and then they're not actually putting the time in to get the content and the stuff like, get the customer warm, you know, get their guard down a bit, warm them up a wee bit, and then get them into some form of contact. So it's like, is it better for you to have a name and a number to phone back on, or is it better for you to have like 12 details but you have nobody to fill it in? So you have to strike a balance between them.
Content's brilliant, so content with call to value, but making sure that you have your content laid out properly as well. So we'll find that somebody will give us a massive piece of content, it's massive block piece of content, and they go, right, I just want it on the site like that. It's like, nobody reads like that. You know, the internet is an informal way of reading. People skim read as they go through. So you want to try and design that in such a way, or just try and bring out the points, the key headlines, bullet point your content as well, because people skim read, as you said, headings, subheadings,
bullets,
and try, because then you can skim through and you can get the information. And actually, if you do want to then sit and read it from the top to bottom, then you can
go a level deeper.
Yeah, and that's like, always as well, make sure that you always provide a call to action or call to value at the end of every piece of content, or at the end of every page, but also make it relevant to that page. You know, don't just keep on trying to get the same thing. So if you're talking about something different, then try and obviously get the call to action that's related to that as well. I've seen it in so many times that you read a blog or an article and it's get a demo, and it's like, I was nowhere near to get a demo.
You're not ready yet, it's too early.
It's way too early.
Process.
But you might
do I buy a car and they've only just came in the place, mate.
But I might have found out a little bit more about the car if you told me the speed of the car or a comparison of cars. I might actually go,
well, you notice in car garages and stuff, they don't do that. They say, what kind of car is it, like what you buying the car for? Oh, well, it's my family, we've had another kid. Fantastic, how many kids do you have? Right, so he's got 3 kids and a partner, so they need at least a 5, a 6 or a 7 seater. That, you need to think about, like, what is the kind of customer. We're building one just now, and it's another type of conversion, but it's a bit longer tail, and it's kind of like driving delight. So looking at how can you do something that's surprising. So like we've mentioned videos of things you go, well, that's really quite quirky, I've not seen that before. So we're working with a content writer, she's down in Manchester, and our business is called The Chemistry of Copy, right? So she used to be a scientist, and I'm thinking, that's really clever. Now, would it not be cool if when people came on the website, they see the website perfect, but then the website says, do you want to conduct an experiment? Right, so then they go yes or no. Right, so if they're no, it's like, you're a party pooper, fair enough, and it closes it. But if they say yes, then it takes them to a loading page, and it says, we are unoptimizing the website, we are making the copy more like what a customer would do, we are merging all the sort of like structured content back into one block, and then it says website successfully unoptimized, fades away, and now the website's wrecked. Like there's big blocks of text and really sort of long headings, no bullets, no formatting. But the whole idea with that is then to trigger a tour. So we'll say, this is a really bad example of a value proposition headline, or you can see the company's talking about themselves. It's quite difficult to read when the text is as wide as this. So it's kind of getting that, and it's like, no, spare me, get me away from here. But because it's like surprising, that itself will drive conversion, because people will remember the site and go, it's actually quite fun. So I can imagine it generating quite a lot of traffic just because it's unusual. And people have maybe not seen that. And I think that's something that websites can do, is what is unique? Like, what could you do, your stuff that makes it stand out, and you say, I've never seen a website like that before, or it's like a little bit extra, but it can maybe draw them in. Because I think it is that way. You'll know that better than me anyway, Mark, but it's grabbing that attention. That's the goal. And then it's like, right, I've got them, now what do I do with it? Right, move it down the funnel. So I'm thinking, by adding a little bit of personalisation or a little kind of unique element, which is why we should constantly keep our eyes open and go, oh, I like that, and write it down in a book. Oh, I like that as well, write that down in a book. And then every kind of maybe couple of weeks, a couple of months go, what are we doing? What's our answer to that?
Yeah. What we've done as well is integrated marketing automation systems into it as well, into the website, which has helped with conversion rate optimization. So some of the tools, so we use a tool called SharpSpring, but you can use tools like HubSpot or Eloqua or all sorts of stuff. But what they do is they've had this feature for ages, but if you fill out a form on the website, but say I've given you all my details, they do this thing called progressive fields. So if I've given you all my data, they then go with that. So in a lead magnet, for instance, and then they go, right, I want to get a demo now. Instead of asking for all that data again, they have a progressive field. They ask for maybe, what's your Twitter handle or your LinkedIn handle, or what's your company size or something else, so that you can just start to get that information as you go along.
It's clever.
And there's really cool things because it's you link it with the website. You can actually do dynamic content. So say I've got you in my database on SharpSpring, for instance, right, and I go onto that page, but because I've got you as a commercial director, I can give you content that looks like commercial, all set for a commercial director.
In the content into what I need to say.
But then a marketing person comes on, or an operations person, they'll see a different page. So it's just, and it just helps with conversion so much, because you're going, oh great, that they're talking just directly to me. It's the one page. So the about us is all written for the commercial director, and then about us is all written for a technical guy as well, which it really kind of helps. And it's integrating these little tools we've talked about, obviously pop-ups, chatbots, dynamic content automation tools. That's what I said. It's like, try to diagnose what's not working, what's working about the website, and then start to bring in these different tools. Video I'm definitely going to be trying that out, even on my website. It was one of the things I thought they were only doing it with a survey, but now that I'm thinking Typeform actually add it onto the website anyway, so I might even just trial it out. Cause I
wanted to trial it as well. We're on the process of building the new Hybrid Anchor website.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I'm just going to litter the thing with like every sort of conversion tactic under the sun, just because I think it's quite good to show clients these are different ways it can be conducted.
Yeah.
And then you can speak with authority about what works and what doesn't. For a service business, obviously, it'll be different for retail and e-learning and such like.
So, closing up here, what would be your business belter for today?
So, business belter for me would be try to keep a curious attitude about what's happening in the market. So, observe what's happening around you. It is hard. It's really hard to spot it. But if you kind of treat it a wee bit like a game, like maybe every day try to spot one thing that you didn't know the day before that you think, that's quite clever. So I gave the examples of things like WhatsApp. It's so obvious when you say it, but still, even now, 2021, people are not doing that. I go to loads of people's websites and they don't have that.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about like how the world has changed.
Yeah.
We've seen it massively through the kind of pandemic, but it's always been there, where there's catalysts to change all the time, and we need to be there if we want to remain current and remain relevant. What about you? What's your business belt?
I definitely think is get the foundations right. So your website is a foundational element of your marketing. That's where people will go and they'll try and find out information from you. I would actually make sure that you get these conversion points in, understand your buyer. So do they have WhatsApp? Then get the WhatsApp app onto your website. It's dead easy to do that. Make sure that you put on, heat tracking software from day one. So you don't want to go down the line and go, we've not got any conversions. We'll get heat tracking software on now. Yeah. We'll find out why we've not. Well, actually, we could have been finding out from day one if this website's working. Make sure you have Google Analytics, free tool to use. Understanding where your audience is coming from, what countries, what cities, how long they're spending on the site, what pages they're spending on the site. Taking all this data and then making the decision off this data to then go, actually, we're going to implement the tool, or we're going to change things up to try and improve conversions, would be my business builder.
It's fantastic. So guys, thanks very much for watching and listening to the show. As you hear, we're talking about conversion tactics, and if you're interested in optimizing your website and your business for conversion, one of the best things you can do is smash the like button and engage with Business Belters, because we share the best tools, the best methods, we talk about what's happening in the market, and it makes sure that you get your fair share of the sales that are there. So I will catch you next week. It's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from him.
Catch you later, guys.